as most of you know, I don't live in America and I don't subscribe to the cult of MAGA. I know not everyone will call it that, but it is a bit cult-like. I'm not a supporter of Trump, but as somebody who does lean more conservatively in terms of certain issues, I have been really interested to see basically what the fallout has been amongst MAGA supporters in terms of President Trump shutting down any conversation about what's happening with the Epstein files. So if you've been following the news, you'd know that the DOJ, the FBI have basically come out and said that there were no clients. Epstein had no clients. So therefore we ask, well, why is Ghislaine Maxwell in jail? Who is she in jail for trafficking children to if there's no clients? Now, I have been really interested to see, will big MAGA supporters and people that are big supporters of, conservative supporters of Trump, will they actually come out and criticize Trump? And I have seen some criticism amongst really big conservative media influencers, where we're talking about Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk. It has been good to see conversation about it. But there's one question that I'm just not seeing any of them ask, or there's one thing that I'm not seeing any of them mention. And in what I'm seeing, that there is some criticism, and they are saying like they don't understand why he's shutting this down. Trump essentially told a journalist he doesn't understand why people care about this. Why do they still care about it? Because we care about justice for people that harm and exploit children and anyone that's being exploited, abused. We care about that. It's just like common sense. I mean, come on. But what I'm not seeing any of them say is, hey, as somebody that's really close to President Trump, I've requested a meeting with him to talk to him about this. People like Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk, they were foundational in Trump being reelected. They were really big movers and shakers in terms of getting more young voters to vote for Trump. And they're very close to him. Megyn Kelly, she's like spoken on stage with him in the lead up to the election results. She's a huge MAGA supporter. And I'm seeing her come out and kind of talk about, why is this being shut down, without sort of saying like, this is wrong. Trump is, I absolutely cannot forgive him for this. None of them are going that hard, but I will give them credit for talking about it. But I'm not seeing Megyn Kelly or Charlie Kirk saying, hey, I got straight on the phone, or I got straight onto my emails and requested a meeting with Trump. If they're all so close with him, and Charlie Kirk even said in an interview that came out in the last day that, he's one of Trump's biggest defenders. Well, if you're one of his biggest defenders on a daily basis, why don't you use that privilege you have, your status, that relationship, to request a meeting with him along with other big conservatives to say, hey, we care about this. Why are you shutting it down? Why are you not finding out what's happened to the client list? Why were we told there was a client list and now we're told it doesn't exist? That's what I'm not seeing any of them speaking about. And as an Australian, it's just baffling to me. I will give people like Charlie Kirk credit for saying that. I think it was Charlie Kirk and Mark Haplin. Sorry if I mispronounced his name. I don't really know anything about him other than that he's a conservative, I think, who's been discussing this week. But they're talking about getting, say, 12 young Americans together to tell Trump why this matters to them. Because Mark Halpin, sorry if that's his name, was saying that basically this is something that doesn't affect everyday Americans, which is just not true. People in the comments were outraged. I was seeing survivors saying, I'm 2 years old, something like that. And I was essayed as a child, and this absolutely matters to me. It impacts every part of my life and has for my entire life. Do not tell me that this doesn't impact older people and only young people care about this. So they are kind of being annihilated a little bit in the comments for that. But I'm just not understanding why they're going the route of, let's talk about it on our podcast or on our news stations, or let's maybe get some young people together to tell President Trump why this matters to young people and he should care, rather than coming together and having a meeting. Imagine if the Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk, I don't know, I'm thinking of people like Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. Like, I'm not saying I support all of these people. I'm just trying to name big conservatives I can think of. Why are they not coming together to basically have an intervention style meeting with Trump to say, why are you shutting this down? That's what I'm not seeing here. And I'm curious how other people feel about this. I think there's mass corruption on both sides. I think there's a lot of people in the Democrat Party and the Conservative Party that would rather that we not know who's on the list, because maybe, just maybe, they are on the list. Conspiracy theory. But those are my thoughts for now. I'm curious how everyone else is feeling about this. And for any survivors watching, there are a lot of us that have been speaking out about this and many other cases for many years. I've been advocating for 13 or more years now on sexual violence, domestic violence, all these areas that impact people across the world. People are not going to let this go, and I will say I'm glad to see a lot of people outraged about it. But if you are feeling down, just know that you are not alone. There are a lot of us that are not going to let this go. We're going to keep talking about it. All my love to you.